Abysmal Bloom, and in today's video, I wanted to share a deck list that I take to locals once in a while for casual gameplay. This is my 40 card Lightsworn handrip deck list. Deck is just pure engine and extenders, and so because of that, you're just trying to play through your opponent's hand traps and still potentially just break their boards or just handrip them and OTK them the following turn. I've taken this to locals maybe 3 times now, and I actually topped with it one time, mainly because of the fact that I won the dice roll every single time. The deck is not particularly great. It will die if you end up running into a person playing shifters or even some other form of graveyard hate like Dimensional Fissure. But if you don't run into those scenarios, the deck just pops off. So yeah, without further ado, let's just go right into the deck profile, and then later I'm going to show you what a test hand can do. So starting off for the main deck, the best summon of the deck is the Lightsworn Dragonling. This is a 1-card combo to do your whole Lightsworn package, and you can special summon it as long as there is a Lightsworn name in your graveyard. So this card by itself is a huge extender. Sometimes if you have to, you can just normal summon it and get to your place. And along with that, there's the fact that when it's sent to the graveyard, you're able to search out either the Judgment or Punishment Dragon. So it's a really good card. Gets so much stuff going. Next, we play 3 copies of the Weiss. This card is also amazing. If you have bricks in your hand, Weiss is able to potentially put it at the top of the deck and then mill it. And along with that, Weiss being a tuner is very relevant, along with the fact that when it's sent to the graveyard, you're able to revive a Lightsworn name. And this helps you just get whatever you're looking for in your graveyard. Next, I have the 1 Garoth. It's a strong card for when it comes up. It gets you additional mills and potentially some card draw. So you have it in there, but it's totally cuttable from the list. I then have the 1 Raiden. It's a 1-of. It's great to get that extra mill too, and it's a tuner, so we play it, but it's not particularly needed. It's more important for having different Lightsworn names in the graveyard for when we go to banish to bring up Punishment Dragon. Next, you're going to be finding this interesting, but we play 2 copies of Lumina Twilightsworn Shaman, and this card is phenomenal in the deck. Once you get to a point where you've milled enough and you've banished 4 names, this Lumina is able to bring back any Lightsworn name that you want, and this helps to facilitate a hand loop that we go to do to basically handrip the opponent. Plus, each copy of Lumina is a once per copy and not a once per turn. So the ability to summon back a name, as well as the mill 3 when a Lightsworn monster activates its effects, are both once per copy. So if you bring it back, you're able to repeat the whole thing all over again. So it's very powerful, and it helps facilitate milling your whole deck. We have the 1 Lumina Lightsworn Summoner, and by discarding a card, you can just summon any Lightsworn name back. So it's just good for what it does. We have the 1 Minerva. It's decent as a mill, and I mean that's more or less what you want it for, but along with that, it helps to make synchro plays because it is a tuner. And so yeah, the Twilightsworn, the Lumina, and the Minerva together help you make any synchro 9 plays as well as rank 3 plays. So it's crazy what these guys can do together. Next, we have the 3 copies of the Wolf, and the 2 copies of the Felice. These guys are just great mills, and yeah, they're just very strong bodies. Next, we play the 3 copies of the Charge of the Light Brigade because it just facilitates so much for the deck. We play 2 copies of Solar Recharge again to just get bricks out of the hand. And then the 1 Lightsworn Aegis, because with this version we are more or less going to be able to mill majority of our deck. So this, if you have a Lightsworn name, becomes an Omni Negate. So that's worth it. I only play 1 copy of both the Judgment Dragon and the Punishment Dragon, but honestly, it's fine at this ratio in this deck because we have other ways to get these cards back. Next, I play a small Horus package. So we play the 3 Imseti, the 1 Happy, and then the 3 King Sarcophagus. The card is great mainly because it helps to get your bricks out of your hand again if you draw them. And this also helps facilitate that rank 8 zombie vampire play. So it's just good for that. Plus, there's the fact that the Imseti is a spellcaster, which is relevant because we do play Selene in this list. Next, we play 3 copies of Starlight Saber, and the reason why is because this card can help you search out the main card you want to always see, the Lightsworn Dragonling, and then it also has good effects in the graveyard to add back your Judgment or Punishment Dragon. So it's just really good overall for both its on-field and graveyard effect. We play the 1 copy of the Blackwing Zephyros, and where this comes up more is really to be able to add back a card on the field to the hand. Judgment Dragon and Punishment Dragon are not a once per turn summon. As long as you meet the conditions, you're able to just summon them. So this just becomes a free body, or potentially you just add back a name from your hand, from the field to the hand. So it's just good for that purpose. Next, we have the Keldo and the Medora. They're just very good graveyard interruptions, so I put them in there. But once in a while, because we do potentially mill our whole deck, it's just great to be able to use this to put some names back. We have the 1 Jet Synchron, and this is mainly because we can use this plus a... we can basically use this with our Synchro 9 plays to go into Dispatter, and it just helps facilitate with the hand dripping. And then the last card is a Foolish Burial, mainly to be able to get whatever graveyard stuff we want in the graveyard. So that's the list. As I've said, there is no side deck because this is all engine. We're not really trying to mess around with that. If you really wanted to make a side deck, I would probably recommend Board Breakers because going first, you're not really trying to play any hand traps. You just want to make a board where you just hand rip the opponent. And going second, yeah, that might be the only thing you worry about a little bit, just trying to break the board. So yeah, if you really wanted to make a side, it's just going to be all Board Breakers. Next, for the extra deck, we have the 1 Dispatter. This works well with the Omega that we make in our combo to basically hand rip the opponent an additional time. I play 2 copies of Trishula. As I said, we can hand loop the opponent because we're able to make a Synchro 9 hand loop play. So we play 2 copies of this. We play the 1 copy of the Omega. We play the Minerva Athena because this card lets you facilitate so much of your Lightsworn package. And then I have the Golden Cloud Beast in here, mainly because this can level modulate, and it's also got a good graveyard effect when it's synchroned off to return a card on the opponent's field to the hand. But basically, it's a level 6, which can become a level 5 or a level 7. So if you're playing with your synchro, if you're playing with your level 3 package, This can potentially become a level 5, and it's also a tuner. So you can use this to go into an Omega, or you can just leave it as is and have it as an additional interruption when you go and make your Synchro 9. So it's just really good overall. And yeah, it's a dragon, so it's cool for what it does. We then have the one Appaloosa to basically end on after hand ripping the opponent. We then play 3 copies of Selene. That's right. We bring back the Spellcaster package so many times, so we just have 3 copies of this in there. And just to guarantee that we do get to a Spellcaster, we also have the one Lina, so that we can take any Lightsworn name plus another body to get a Spellcaster. We then have the Zombie Vampire, because milling is very important in this deck. We have the Xyz Minerva, because again, milling is great, and we also get some draw power. And then the last 2 cards, we have an Ashura King, because after we've milled our opponent out, we can make this guy, which is a monster negate, and when it attacks, it's able to basically gain 200 attack, and it's able to attack a number of times based on the number of materials under it. So this card by itself can OTK. And then lastly, we have the Enlightenment Dragon. And this is basically more of a backup play, usually, in the situation where your opponent hand traps you to oblivion. In a weird way, you're still accomplishing your goal of hand ripping the opponent. And then on top of that, you're still able to usually get to a punishment dragon and a judgment dragon. So you can still get to the enlightenment dragon play, and you still have a board wipe at the end of all that. So it's really good as a backup in case things don't work out the way you want. And by being able to just banish everything on the field and the graveyard, it just makes it so that your opponent doesn't really have any follow-up usually. So that is the deck. Let me just quickly shuffle this up so that you can sort of see what a test hand can do. Okay, so our opening hand is a Starlight Safer, a King Sarcophagus, Charge of the Light Brigade, Solar Recharge, and a Judgment Dragon. So this is already pretty busted. We'll start off with the Charge of the Light Brigade just to see what we can work with. So we mill a Jet Synchron, a King Sarcophagus, and a Lumina, and we're able to add. So since we did hit a Lightsworn name, we'll just add a copy of the Dragonling here. So since we have a Lightsworn name, let's just go ahead and special summon the Dragonling, and this will dump to the graveyard a copy of the Felice. And since Felice was sent to the graveyard by a monster effect, it will summon itself. We can then Synchro 8, and that will get us to the Minerva. Minerva will then trigger here to send to the graveyard a copy of 2 Lightsworn names. And I think over here what we're going to go for is we'll just do a Weiss and a Garoth. Mainly because I'm trying to draw cards here, get some more follow-up. So we'll dump these 2 guys, and then the Weiss will trigger to bring back the Garoth. 2, 3. So we have 4 different names in the graveyard, but I actually want to keep the Lightsworn name in the graveyard. So what I'm going to do instead is we're going to trigger the King Sarcophagus. Oh, before I forget, because the Lightsworn Dragonling was synchroed off, we get to our hand a copy of the Punishment Dragon. So yeah, from here, what we're going to do is we're going to actually activate the King Sarcophagus, and I'm going to use that card's effect to dump to the graveyard a copy of the Imseti, by dumping the Judgment Dragon. And let's just do that one more time by dumping the Starlit Saphert to get a Happy. So since we just have that, we will just bring out both the Happy and the Imseti. And we'll then take these two guys, and I'm going to make that into the Zombie Vampire. I'll then trigger the effect of the Zombie Vampire by detaching the Happy to mill 4. And we get to summon one name. I think I'll just go for the... we'll just summon the Lumina here, actually. And then Wolf will summon itself because it was milled. So let's see, do we have enough names now? Twice, Dragonling. Alright, so if I'm able to get the Wolf into the graveyard, then we're pretty much set at this point. So, do we have a way to do that right now? We do not. What I'll do is I'll take both the Wolf and the Zombie Vampire, and we're just going to link that off into the Lina here, just so that we can get the Wolf into the graveyard. And now that that has been done, we'll go ahead and trigger the Minerva to banish 4 names. So we have the Wolf, the Weiss, the Dragonling, and the Felice. And so that will be a mill 4. And then from here, we're going to actually trigger the Garoth to mill 2 more. And we actually do hit 2 Lightsworn names. So the Felice will summon itself and we'll get to actually draw 2 here. Okay. So things are looking a lot better now. We'll go ahead and activate the Solar Recharge in hand to dump the Weiss, draw 2, and then discard 2. And so yeah, that just brings out the Weiss, that just brings out the Wolf, and we set the Lightsworn Aegis. Okay, so things are looking pretty good here. Yeah, we'll just take the Felice and the Wolf, and we're going to actually just go ahead and start hand-dripping the opponent here. So I'm going to Synchro 8 into the Cyframe Lord Omega, and we'll activate its effect to banish and hand-drip the opponent for 1. Okay, from here, we can do this. We have a copy of the Lumina, and we have one in the graveyard as well, I believe. We'll go ahead and actually just use our normal summon finally. And before we go any further, I think I'm actually just going to link 3. 1, 2, yep. And we're going to link 3 into a copy of the Selene. And we should have more than enough counters because we have the King Sarcophagus and at least 2 spells in the graveyard. So from here, we're not activating the effect right now. We'll go ahead and use the effect of Raiden to mill 2. And so Raiden gets a little bigger, but that also triggers the Garoth to mill 2 more. 1, 2, and we hit a Minerva, and so we'll draw 1, and then we also get to mill for the Minerva. Okay, so we basically have all the players that we want into play now, and we're actually at 3 cards left in the deck. So we're going to get rid of the Garroth before we really just go forward, I think. So starting off, yeah, we'll use the effect of Selene here to bring back the Lightsworn Lumina. From here, what do we want to do? So we've used this Selene here. We'll actually just go ahead and link 3 using the Selene to make the second Selene. I'm doing this mainly because I want that card out of the way. But yeah, from here, we're going to use the effect of the Lightsworn Shaman, and that's going to banish the Minerva, and that will then summon the Minerva from the graveyard. From here, we'll use the effect of Lumina, discard a Wolf, and that's going to summon the second Lightsworn Lumina. Since we activated the effect of Lumina, that will trigger the first Lightsworn to mill 3. And from there, since another Lightsworn name triggered, we would be able to mill more with the second one as well. So we have got to a point where we can start hand ripping the opponent for whatever cards we have in our hand. So I'll show you what that looks like. We have Minerva, so we're going to start off by Synchro 9. I'm going to leave the Lightsworn Shaman that hasn't brought back a monster on the field. So Synchro 9, and that's going to bring out our Trishula, which will hand rip the opponent for 1. From here, I'm going to activate the effect of the Jet Synchron in our graveyard by discarding a card in my hand. So we have a level 9 dragon and we have a level 1 tuner. So I'm going to Synchro 10 to just directly make a Dispatter. And so yeah, we'll just use the effect of Dispatter real quick to bring back the Omega, and that's going to be hand drip number 3. Okay, so from here, we'll use the effect of the Lightsworn Lumina, and that's going to bring out the Lumina. From here, I just want to be able to leave that in the deck. From here, let's go ahead and actually use the effect of what do we want to do here? So we'll use the effect of the Lumina, just dump this, and that's going to bring out the second Lightsworn Shaman, and then we'll use the effect of that to bring out our Minerva. So again, we can Synchro 9, and this will get the second Trishula, which will hand rip for 4. So there's just one more card that we need to take out. And how we're going to do that is we're going to start off by activating the effect of, you know what? Let's do it like this. I'll do 1, 2, and 3 for a copy of the Selene. We'll then use the effect of Selene to bring out the Lightsworn Lumina, which will again bring out this Lumina. And you know what? Let's do this. We'll actually activate the effect of the Blackwing Zephyros here to add back I guess we'll just add back this King Sarcophagus. And then, yeah, we'll use the effect of the Lumina. I'm actually just still going to discard the Punishment Dragon here. And that's going to bring out the Minerva. And the reason why we do that is we can now Synchro 9. Oh, actually, before I forget, we are at a point where we don't have any more Trishulas left. So we will activate the effect of a Ishizu Shuffler, and that's going to put back into the deck a Trishula, a Selene, and a Trishula. So now that that has been done, we can go ahead and Synchro 9. And we handrip the opponent for the last time. So they are now completely out of cards. And then I'm going to actually just take both the Selene and the Blackwing Zephyros, and we'll link that into a 2-material Appaloosa. And yeah, you know what? Let's just go ahead and actually activate the effect of the Starliege Seyfert, and that will be able to bring back the Punishment Dragon. So again, since we have all the banished names, we can just summon the Punishment Dragon. And let me look real quick if there's anything more I want to mess with. I don't think so. So yeah, we have basically two options here. We have a copy of the So since we have a copy of Medora, if we want to, we can go for an Enlightenment Dragon play here by using the Punishment Dragon on the field and the Judgment Dragon in the graveyard. But more than not, I'd rather do this other play where we activate the effect of Punishment Dragon to shuffle back everything that is not a Lightsworn name from our graveyard and banish. So by doing that, we're getting rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Alright, so by doing this, we basically get access to a deck again, so we don't have to worry about getting milled out. And we also shuffle away all the banished stuff. So that means even the stuff that was shuffled, that was banished off of Omega will be shuffled away. And so because of that, the opponent is basically left on no cards. They're in top deck mode. We have an extra deck again. We have basically 2 monster negates, and the Disbatter will be able to basically banish Wolf, or it'll be able to return one of our banished names to the deck to basically just pop whatever the opponent summons. And then lastly, we have the Punishment Dragon as well to again just shuffle whatever the opponent has in their graveyard. So this is honestly a very powerful setup. And the best part here is whatever happens next, we can, we'll just shuffle real quick. Draw a card for turn. And yeah, from here, we basically have milled out all our Lightsworn cards. So this card is useless, but we can still just activate the effect of the Charge of the Light Brigade. Activate the effect of King Sarcophagus to mill the Charge of the Light Brigade, which will get us access to Insetti. And then, yeah, from here, let's just go ahead and bring out the Insetti. It's very brain dead, so if you just don't want to really think about what you're doing, this is just a good deck for that purpose. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.